I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Bobby Kennedy from the Waterkeeper Alliance for coming down to the Bahamas and actually coming quite frequently and promoting the challenging environmental issues that we face. The Coalition to Protect Clifton Bay welcomes the Waterkeeper Alliance as a community partner. We have the Nature Conservancy, we have Andros Conservancy, we have the Grand Bahama Human Rights Association, we have Save Guanakee, we have over a dozen community partners now, all of whom are coming together under the umbrella of the Coalition, joining forces to promote the passage of an Environmental Protection Act, which you heard Mr. Kennedy speak about, to pass a Freedom of Information Act. Our Attorney General, Ms. Alison Gibson Maynard, recently indicated that they've taken the old bill that was before Parliament and they're redoing it and they're going to improve on the Freedom of Information Act. So I do hope, as Mr. Darville said, that our Prime Minister is going to leave a legacy of democracy and freedom in the Bahamas and protection of the environment. Hubert Ingraham promised government in the sunshine decades ago when the FNM came to power. To this day, we still do not have government in the sunshine. It is unfortunate that no Bahamian or foreigner can go to a government official and get access to documents which will let the public know what the government is doing. So freedom of information is the bedrock of a democracy. Every other civilized nation in the world now, for the most part, has a Freedom of Information Act. And the Bahamas cannot continue to lag so far behind and pretend to be a Westminster model of democracy and not have what most other Caribbean nations have. They have it in England, they have throughout the United Kingdom, they have it in the United States, they have it throughout Europe. It's time for the Bahamas to lockstep with other democratic nations. So the Freedom of Information Act would have permitted us in the Guanakee situation years ago to access what the developers were doing, what Crown land. We subsequently discovered that Baker's Bay was getting 1 acre of Crown land for $1 an acre. You and I can't get that from our government, but the foreign developers were able to do that. So it's about time that we get to know what our government sitting at the office of the Prime Minister does in our name. As Joe Darville says, Crown land is our patrimony. It is ours for the future. We are entitled to Crown land, not to be given away. So Freedom of Information Act, Environmental Protection Act, and laws against the oil spillage and pollution. Bobby Kennedy was very clear in his description of the condition of the reefs. I'd like to put a plug in for Freeport. We're supposed to be the industrial capital of the Bahamas, yet to this day, 55 years after Freeport's been created, we have no health and safety at work regulations or laws for all those thousands of employees who work in the industrial sector. We have no environment protection legislation to protect against the industrial capital of the Bahamas polluting the ground, the air, and the sea in Freeport. It's time we respected our own home. We can't expect foreigners to come here and respect our home if we don't start respecting our own home ourselves. We, as Bahamians, have to take control of our environment, of our freedom, of our democracy. And what's been beautiful about the Bahamas over the last few decades is you've had a switch from FNM to PLP to FNM to PLP. I hope that keeps going on every 5 years. So the politicians get the message that they're supposed to do what they promise the people they're going to do in their manifestos.
I understand there's a feud going on between yourself and Code Smith.
There's no feud. Let's debunk this. I have no feud. I have nothing going on with Code Smith. Code is a colleague of mine. He is a friend. We have worked professionally for 15, 20 years. I don't know where he or others may be thinking that there's a feud. I have no truck with Code Smith. Now, there was an incident last Thursday, which is going to be dealt with in due course, but I have no personal animus towards Code Smith or any of the chaps that were on the dock. In fact, I gave them money to buy beer. We had a great time talking about issues. They explained that they didn't want to have a marine park here because there were issues about fishing, that if there was a no-take zone, people wouldn't be able to fish. A perfectly reasonable thing to talk about. So it's time to engage fellow Bahamians in conversation about issues that matter, not to fight. I am not in a fight with Code. What I'm in a fight about now is protecting our environment. And this is what the Coalition to Protect Clifton Bay Our motto is Save the Bays. We're going to start at Clifton Bay. We're going to go to Baker's Bay. We're going to go to Bimini Bay. We're going to go to Lighthouse Point. We're going to go even to Freeport Bay, Freeport Harbor. We don't call it a bay, we call it a harbor.
Dean's Blue Hole.
And Dean's Blue Hole, which is being given away. One of the most historic environmental ecotourism sites in the Bahamas. Give it away for some development. You know, Freeport is a city already designed for 250,000 people now. All the canals, all the waterways, all the beaches, 7 18-hole golf courses, 11 or 12 huge hotels, beautiful 150 miles of beach. Why are we insistent on giving away all these beautiful little Virgin Islands everywhere to development when all the government has to say is, hey guys, you can go to Freeport where you have real property tax exemptions, you have business license exemptions, you don't pay customs duty. Everything is available for development in Freeport. It's about time, instead of recreating Freeport in Mayaguana or everywhere else, just send the developers, send the investors to Freeport. And then you won't see the economic backwater and recession that Freeport has been in for the last 15 years. Since Hurricanes Jean and Francis, the people of Freeport have been dying. And the FNM did nothing in the last 5 years to help Freeport. It's about time that the PLP won lots of seats in Freeport in Grand Bahama. Let the PLP make good on their promises. They could create 10,000 jobs overnight in Grand Bahama by directing investment to Grand Bahama, not allowing all these little spastic developments to occur throughout the rest of the Bahamas. So it's time for Freeport, and it's time for our environment, and it's time for a Freedom of Information Act so that we can have true democracy in the Bahamas. Thank you.